I mean, it's truly shocking, some of these statistics you're giving. In relation to tapes or videos and stuff that you've been told about or has come into your possession, have you seen material, evidential material, which in your estimation as a lawyer could cross the line into criminal activity?
You know, that's a difficult question. You know, as most of your viewers know, the standard of proof in a civil case versus a criminal case is very different. In a criminal case, you have to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. That's why the federal authorities, you know, they typically won't bring a case unless it's rock solid. And I'm sure they talked to a lot of people. They collected a lot of evidence. And, you know, from all of that, there's only 3 counts. The civil system is the standard of proof is preponderance of the evidence. Well, I like to describe it when I'm in court as more likely than not. And so when you look at these videos and pictures and bottles of oil that I've received and other things that we've been given, you know, the piece of evidence, the piece of physical evidence or the video by it in and of itself doesn't really prove anything. You know, you see a sexual act being performed on video, but you need a witness or the victim to kind of put this in context. You know, you see some sexual act that was captured by a third party on video. You still have to have somebody to say, okay, that individual who was engaged in that, that's who that is, and this individual who was engaged in that was drugged. You know, and so that people are very interested into what do you have on video and what do you have as by way of evidence. And ultimately, in these kinds of cases, it ultimately comes down to he said, she said. That's it every single time, or he said, he said. And so the most important thing is the credibility of the victim. And typically, in these cases, the defense is always the same. When you bring these kinds of allegations against someone, the first defense is always attack the victim, try to destroy the credibility of the victim. And what I'm looking for is to make sure that the victim, that I have the evidence to put the victim in the room with the alleged perpetrator. And then I try to collect witnesses and other data to corroborate what occurred. But ultimately, it comes down to the credibility of the victim and the credibility of the alleged perpetrator. And that's why hopefully we do a very good job on the front end and make it clear to these people who are calling in that make these allegations that, look, ultimately, you'll have to testify publicly in front of a jury in an open court and tell your story, and you'll be cross-examined, and your name will be known. And that helps me, you know, do the fact checking that we need to do to make sure that we're only bringing those claims that we believe are most credible. And unfortunately, sometimes people with real claims, real legitimate claims, you know, it makes it difficult for them to even pursue these.
Right.
And when you feather in the fact that in many of these cases, the allegation is that the individual was drugged, it makes it even more difficult because this particular drug, this liquid G, they call it, which is basically a date rape drug, you know, it almost wipes your memory. So, you know, it's a Herculean task with this many people making these types of claims, but just if they were just one claim, it's difficult enough. So this is a challenge. I think we're on the right side of this, and we're going to pursue these as aggressively as the court system will allow.
And finally, Mr. Buzbee, how long have you been a lawyer?
Coming up on 30 years.
Have you ever been involved in anything on this scale?
You know, you know, when the BP Horizon explosion occurred and that vessel sank, we had, you know, obviously thousands of clients. I dealt with the Deshaun Watson cases, obviously not of this scope, but, you know, there was a lot of media attention, but certainly nothing like this. You know, I think, you know, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I've been around for a while. Even I was very surprised about the scope of this and the amount of people stepping forward who said they were victimized based upon conduct either performed by or orchestrated by Sean Combs.
It's truly shocking. Tony Buzbee from Houston, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.